Hello there, I wanted to make this quick video just to announce my brand new article, my second article as a matter of fact against Jehovah's Witnesses. It's titled The Real Truth About Jehovah's Witnesses. And to answer the question of someone asking me in the comments of one of my videos why I keep making those videos, well, as long as the organization of Jehovah's Witnesses is going to keep my family hostage, that's how long I'm going to make those videos, and that's the number one reason why I'm making those videos and writing those articles. So in this article, I'm going to mention you the subheadings of the article, and I'm going to talk to you about the main or should I say the characteristic of a cult. It's taken from Cult Education or educationcult.com, and they have different characteristics, the 10 most obvious characteristics that you are in a cult or that you are dealing with a cult, and you'll see how well they match. Every single one of the 10 match perfectly the organization of Jehovah's Witnesses. So let's look at the subheadings, and then at those 10 criteria about cults. The first subtitle is Why Jehovah's Witnesses Are Not Considered a Dangerous Cult. Believe it or not, as a whole, Jehovah's Witnesses organization is not considered to be dangerous at all. That's why you may think that the media is interested in speaking against Jehovah's Witnesses, but for the most part, they're not. They're really not considering it to be a dangerous cult. The second subheading of my article is Basic Beliefs about Jehovah's Witnesses, because this article is really meant for non-Jehovah's Witnesses, more for people at large to be informed and educated about the teachings and doctrines of Jehovah's Witnesses. Then I'll be discussing in that article why is the religion of Jehovah's Witnesses dangerous, since most people outside of the religion, outside of the cult, do not see this cult as a dangerous cult or as dangerous as the known dangerous cult, so to speak. So we are going to talk about that, see if Jehovah's Witnesses is really as safe as people believe it is. Then my next subtitle is the subject, the very topic that I'm talking about in this video is Jehovah's Witnesses religion really a cult? And like I said earlier in the video, I'm comparing 10 criteria from education.com, 10 criteria of a cult. And you'll see, I'll detail them one by one, and you'll see how well they match the organization of Jehovah's Witnesses teachings. And then again, since this article is speaking specifically to non-witnesses, I'm going to mention, I'm going to talk about who truly are Jehovah's Witnesses. In this subheading, I'm going to talk about why Jehovah's Witnesses teaching is twisted and dangerous, since not enough people outside of this religion seems to be aware of. For example, I have very mean comments, nasty comments from non-Jehovah's Witnesses who defamed this religion just because all they know about it is that it's a Christian religion and it teaches, peace and is against things that are bad. But this is not enough to make a cult safe. They do not know the underlining of all that good facade, so to speak. So this is a chapter that's very needed. People need to understand the teaching and the twisted things behind this cult that makes it dangerous. And the last chapter of my article is why I left the Organization of Jehovah's Witnesses. And again, since this is for non-Jehovah's Witness, by understanding more why people leave the organization, they'll have a better idea why this religion, this so-called safe religion, can be dangerous and disturbing to the point that people are living it. So here we go, 10 criteria that you are dealing with a cult. Number one, absolute authoritarianism without meaningful accountability. Let's see how that one matches. Number one checks perfectly. We do know, all of us, ex-Jehovah's Witnesses and present Jehovah's Witnesses, that the Organization of Jehovah's Witnesses is the only true religion and that there are none others out there. Except that we also know, because of that Jeffrey Jackson lied under oath during the court case, the Royal Commission in Australia, when he said that it would be presumptuous to say that there were only one true religion and that it was theirs, because he didn't dare saying that in front of other people who may have thought that he was crazy as hell. But we all know, all of us, ex-Jehovah's Witnesses and you, Jehovah's Witnesses who are watching this, that you really, really do think that you have the only true religion. So this one, check, works out. Second criteria of a cult, no tolerance for questions or critical inquiry. Well, here again, we know what happens to those who ask too many questions. Eventually, if those questions are cataloged as being a little bit of apostate questions, a little bit in contrary to the teaching of Jehovah's Witnesses, this is not going to fare well for you. Actually, I've heard during a podcast from ex-Jehovah's Witnesses that there was that young witness who was actually very zealous, but he had that very bad habit of asking a lot of questions, and eventually it got him disfellowshipped. So this is not hearsay, this is not made up, this is the truth. This one, this cult criteria again matches Jehovah's Witnesses as being a cult. Next criteria of a cult, no meaningful financial disclosure regarding budget, expenses such as independently audited financial statement. As far as disclosing the expenses, we know that every month there is a disclosure about different expenses that involve the Kingdom Hall and stuff like that. We do not know where all the money that we give to the Organization of Jehovah's Witnesses go. For example, never did I hear that my money went to pay some lost court cases, for example, about pedophilia or other sexual abuses that were lost. Yet we know that the Organization of Jehovah's Witnesses had to give millions of dollars in those court cases lost. So definitely this one checks out as well, because we do not know where, we know where some of the money goes. We do not know where all the money goes. Another telltale sign of a cult, unreasonable fear about the outside world, such as impending catastrophe, evil conspiracies, and persecutions. This one checks pretty well as well. First of all, they have an unreasonable fear of the world. One of the main reasons they shun people who leave the organization, who leave the congregation, it's because they are so scared to be enticed back into the world by keeping a relationship with that person. Impending doom, well, we know that Armageddon is about to come yesterday and destroy the world. As far as persecution, if you say anything against Jehovah's Witnesses, they are persecuted because they are the true Christians. So everything that is said against them whether it's TV, documentaries, videos on YouTube, articles on the web, it's all persecution. So this matches in all points. Next criteria of a cult. There is no legitimate reason to leave. Former followers are always wrong in leaving, negative or even evil. Well, don't we know that this one matches too? There is no reason whatsoever to leave the organization of Jehovah's Witnesses. If you leave the organization of Jehovah's Witnesses, you are evil and you do not love God anymore. There is no way on earth that you will be right. For any reason you may choose to be leaving the organization of Jehovah's Witnesses, you will never be right. There is no way that you will ever be right. You are wrong and they're right. So another one that I'm afraid matches perfectly. Next one, former members often relate the same stories of abuse and reflect a similar pattern of grievances. Well, by watching all the videos of ex-Jehovah's Witnesses or documentaries on TV, you'll see that they all pretty much match, right? The same pattern. We all leave for maybe a different, slightly different reason. Some because they felt there was no love in the congregation. Some because they didn't agree with the doctrines. Some maybe because they were abused and they saw the hypocrisy in the organization of Jehovah's Witnesses. No matter what, all those themes tend to come back over and over and over again. So this one matches as well, sadly. Next criteria of a cult, they are records, books, news articles, or television programs that document the abuse of the group leader. Another one that we can check, mark, approved, it's this one. There are more and more videos, documentaries, articles, blogs, sites, you name it, that are all discussing the same thing. They're discussing the lies about the organization of Jehovah's Witnesses. So another one, another criteria that matches the cult criteria. Next one, followers feel they can never be good enough. Well, don't we know that this one matches perfectly too? The average Jehovah's Witness never feels good enough. You should preach more, study more, go to the meetings, and most of all, do less for you and more for Jehovah. The group leader is always right. Sadly, the organization of Jehovah's Witnesses is notorious in never taking blame for their past mistakes. The very obvious one that I can think of is the 1975 end of the world thing. Never did they take the blame of having made a false prophecy. On the contrary, when I was one of Jehovah's Witnesses starting in the mid-1990s, I remember some witnesses who had been witnesses for at least 20 years by then already, who were blaming the brothers and sisters who had believed that 1975 was the end of the world. And the reason why, it's because they had become witnesses just a little after 1975. And it's amazing. It's amazing to me that the Society of Jehovah's Witnesses was able to make believe the witnesses, we will call them after 1975 witnesses, believe that those who left the organization, who believed that the end was coming in 1975, were just completely deluded individuals that believed those things out of their hats, when it was actually a prophecy that was made by the organization. The final one, the group leader is the exclusive means of knowing truth or receiving validation. No other process of discovery is really acceptable or credible. This one matches on a grand scale as well. We know that the organization is the holder of the ultimate truth. There is no way that you could come up with a better idea than them. It's absolutely impossible. You could not correct them. You could not advise them. Nobody can. They are holding the only truth there is. So this one, the last one of all the criteria to match a cult, matches Jehovah's Witnesses organization to a T. If you want to know more details about Jehovah's Witnesses religion, click on the link down below. That's going to take you to my article, The Real Truth About Jehovah's Witnesses. Hope you like it. Hope you liked this video. If you did, tell me so. Comment, share it, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye-bye.